Hey everyone, Andrig with Andrig's Aircooled technology. Just wanted to show you something somewhat refreshed, not really new. This is my Evolution Fan Shroud right here, and this is what I'm, just terming for myself, kind of the Generation 2 of it. There's no functional design change to this. Exactly the same as before in terms of functionality. The air vanes are all identical, inlet outlets, everything's the same, but it was somewhat kind of tedious to put together and not get some warpage that was kind of bad on some of the, especially on the back part with the inlet right here. And so I set about, doing a couple of prototypes, changing the non-functional aspects of the design, just changing the way it goes together to eliminate welds that were really unnecessary, make the welds smaller. And while I was at it, I also had integrated, I don't know if you can see this very well. Maybe you can see it from, oh, you can see this very well, but we'll show it up close. Integrated PEM hardware for everything here, so you can see it here, and you can see it here too. The back one there is for the velocity ring, and of course the front one's for your backing plate, etc. So, so you got PEM hardware built in everywhere now, essentially here as well. The only exception to that, this one that I just made, has the stock coil mount provision, and those I still weld nuts on in place for those because the laser cut parts don't have those. That's just an option. So I still have templates and I drill the holes for those. And I weld a couple nuts on, but I don't have to weld on nuts here. I don't have to weld on nuts here. I don't have to do rivet nuts for the velocity ring anymore. So all of that makes it simpler to put together. The cost of the laser cut parts, go up with this kind of hardware being inserted from the beginning. But my labor time is now shorter, and so it kind of comes out in the wash. Unfortunately, I was hoping my labor time would come down enough I could actually reduce the price, but that wasn't the case because of the increased cost of adding the hardware. Now the hardware itself is not expensive, but they have to obviously put these put the laser cut parts into a machine and they're pressed in place and all that kind of stuff. So so there's kind of human intervention on their side versus just when you just have laser cut parts, it's all, virtually hands-free, automated, except for people who put the sheets in place and take them off. So, so there's a little more labor cost for them, for the vendor I use for that, but everything else is the same. And so this is, Generation 2, and the much fewer welds too, besides now everything's just a lot straighter. The fewest welds are actually on the most visible part. So I have more welds on this side than I do on this side. So that should make it, it'll take about the same amount of time in terms of prep for paint or powder coat, but there's just a lot less like low spots, because there's just fewer welds. And of course we don't sacrifice how well it's put together. We just did the maximum number of kind of reduction of welds and made the welds smaller, and that the primary benefit of that, besides just the time that it takes for me to weld these things together, is that this stuff just stays very flat now. There's always going to be probably, because you're putting heat into the sheet metal, maybe a tiny bit of warping, but you really can't tell anymore. And I was doing better at more of those I made on the kind of Gen 1 ones. I was, adjusting my welding settings and kind of where I was welding at any one time, how the pattern I was using helped a lot. And most of the ones that came out just fine. I mean, there's a little bit of warping, but nothing that caused any problems anyway, right? Now these come out, they're just they're nearly perfectly flat. Never going to be perfectly flat when you weld on stuff, but it's really close to that. I mean, you can't really tell. So that's kind of Generation 2 of the Evolution Fan Shroud, and they just, they're coming out great. And so everybody that's ordering past when I made this one, we'll start getting the Gen 2. So I think I ran out of parts for the first generation one, and those are all made now. So anything new that you order will now be this, and I think just the quality, right? I'm always interested in trying to improve the quality of what I'm doing for you guys, and that's just one of the ways to do that. And hopefully over time, maybe this hardware stuff will come down in price in terms of the cost of implementing that from my vendor who does this, and I can reduce the overall cost of the fan shroud. But they come out really nice. Really pleased. Someone's gonna get kind of a Gen 1.8. A couple people are gonna get, because I made a couple prototypes of these, and when I made those prototypes, I'd kind of forgotten about doing provisions for the velocity ring. So there'll be 2 of these that'll go out to customers, and they'll still have the rivet nuts here for the velocity ring, but everything else is this Gen 2 fan shroud. So the couple early ones, those prototypes, they came out so well that I'm like, okay, I can deliver those to a customer. So there's one little difference, which is they don't have the PEM hardware pre-installed. They have rivet nuts instead that I drilled the holes for and put in place. So yeah, this is just wanted to let you guys know, and I think you'll be really happy with these things. And of course, the performance is outstanding on these fan shrouds, right? So 52% higher airflow with a OEM doghouse fan. 62% with a Evolution 1 fan. So if you get the full Evolution cooling package, and you get the fan as well. If you add the velocity ring and an Evolution 1 fan, you're talking about almost 70%, about 69.4% increase in airflow. So the performance is incredible. And when I get the Evolution 2 fans, which I have in a previous video, I gave an update on those. The performance is going to be really incredible. Probably another. Let's see. We're going to be 9. I do a little math here. Close to 100%. It'll be in the mid to high 90s percent-wise of increased airflow. So these things will be awesome for the really, really high performance engines. I do have a heater, fresh air heat version of this. It's kind of a Gen 1.2. It has the PEM hardware on the front of on the front part here for the backing plate and stuff, but it doesn't have any of the other changes for this. So they'll I've only sold a couple of those, so those will take time before I switch over to the Gen 2 approach for the fresh air heat one. So, but like I said, I've kind of gotten good at making these in a way that there's they come out high enough quality, but we wanted better. So if you get the fresh air heat version of it, you just keep in mind it doesn't have the changes to that this has. So anyway, thanks, and I appreciate all the support. Appreciate the patience on the Evolution 1 fans, coming very soon now. And if you're interested in the fan shrouds, the quality of them has just gotten better. So thanks, and we'll talk to you later. Bye bye.